Revealed, the incredible journey of an unexpected pregnancy, transforming an Omega's life forever. May stood behind the counter of the Maplewood diner, her usual bright smile faltering slightly under the harsh fluorescence. The clamor of clattering dishes and booming laughter surrounded her, but all she could focus on were the swirling doubts in her mind. The news hung heavy in her chest like a lead weight. She was pregnant. Just a few weeks ago, she cherished the thought of achieving her dream of becoming a nurse. Now, that dream felt like smoke drifting away in the wind. She remembered the night with Jasper, the charming musician who had whispered sweet nothings into her ear. Those brief moments of joy now felt haunting. She felt joy and fear intertwining in her heart. May glanced over at the regulars, who were immersed in whispered conversations, their eyes occasionally flickering toward her with judgment lurking in the corners. Each glance felt like daggers piercing through her resolve. "Smile, May," she whispered to herself, forcing brightness into a moment she didn't feel that in the chaos of lunchtime. She tried to bury her fear beneath a stack of plates, moving swiftly, pouring coffee for Mr. Thompson and refilling Mrs. Peterson's pie, a feeble attempt to pretend everything was just fine. But beneath the surface, it churned. The vibrant Maplewood she loved felt smaller, every corner reminding her of her growing fears, but then there was Mrs. Sullivan, her kind-hearted neighbor, who always had a way of making May feel a little lighter. Life has a funny way of turning things upside down. "Remember, May, sometimes the strongest things grow from the strangest places," she would say with a sparkling gaze. It brought May brief comfort amid the storm. Things felt more complicated when May spoke to her mother about the pregnancy. She hadn't even tried to soften the blow. Disapproval dripped from her words like a slow poison. May's heart thumped painfully with each accusation that echoed in her mind. Was she really throwing away the life her mother envisioned? The gulf between them widened, the distance an ache she couldn't ignore. "You've let me down, May," her mother had said, folding her arms in disappointment. Just when May thought she was beginning to adapt, Jasper returned unannounced. Standing beneath the diner's neon sign, he seemed like a ghost from a life she used to know. His wild curls and carefree spirit stirred something deep within her. However, the joy of seeing him quickly faded as reality crashed around her. They were not the same people anymore. "I'm back," he grinned, but all May could see were the shadows they were both carrying. "Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen." Now let's continue. May slid into her booth, feeling the weight of it all as she applied for assistance, a necessary but deeply painful choice. She faced unsolicited scrutiny from the townsfolk, their opinions slashing through her heart. Why can't she just get a real job? They'd sneer, voicing what everyone implied. Each word felt like another clash against her resolve, making her feel as fragile as glass. The community festival brought chaos and hope, but also a storm of emotions. Standing amidst the bustling crowd, May's heart raced as the conversation shifted towards her. When she stepped forward to speak, doubt clawed at her throat, but she summoned her courage, her voice emerging stronger than she felt. "This is who I am," she declared, the undertone of her mother's disappointment echoing in her mind, the mixed reactions from the crowd twinged with hope and judgment. Intertwined, confusing her even more. Could she possibly stand up and be the woman she needed to be, or would her dreams slip further away into the shadows? May took a breath, poised to reclaim her story, wishing to shatter the chains of prejudice holding her down. As the eyes of her community bore into her, the weight of expectations pressed hard against her chest. The moment felt electric, sparking a hope she feared might be lost forever. Would she be able to emerge stronger from this tumult? The answer hung in the air, waiting to reveal itself as she prepared for whatever came next. May's heart raced as she stood at the community festival, a mixture of fear and defiance swirling within her. The vibrant colors of the stalls blurred into the background as she trained her focus on the people watching her. They were no longer just familiar faces, they were the voices of her childhood, the expectations of her mother, the taunting whispers of judgment. As the applause faded, she noticed Jasper making his way through the throng, his expression a mix of concern and admiration. His presence sent electricity through her veins, igniting a flicker of hope she desperately needed. "You were amazing," he said softly, stepping closer. His voice cut through the noise, wrapping her in warmth. But his compliment felt heavy, full of unspoken questions. "I don't know what I'm doing," May confessed, her voice barely audible over the festival's cheerful chaos. "This pregnancy, it's changed everything." The truth spilled from her lips, raw and unfiltered. Jasper nodded, understanding etched on his face. "You've got more strength than you know, May. It's not about becoming what everyone expects. It's about what you want." She witnessed flickers of nostalgia in his eyes, a reminder of the young dreams they once shared. But the stakes had changed. The fragile connection they had was now twisted and tangled, like the autumn leaves crumbling underfoot. "I wish I could see it that way," she murmured. "But it feels like everyone is watching, waiting for me to fail." "Then let them," he replied, his tone fierce and unwavering. "This is your life, not theirs." As those words resonated, a wave of strength surged through her. She looked around at the festival, the laughter without joy, the carefree moments hiding crushing expectations. Maybe it was time to voice the truth not only to herself but to everyone. "May." The sudden call startled her. Mrs. Sullivan was weaving her way through the crowd, her face beaming with pride. "I was just telling everyone about your speech. They all think you have the heart of a lion." Her pulse quickened at the thought of being seen in that light. "Really?" "Absolutely. Sometimes the loudest voices are those that you can't see in the crowd." "You have a gift," Mrs. Sullivan encouraged, placing a gentle hand on May's shoulder. "Keep nurturing it. You're not alone in this." Touched, May felt a wave of warmth pooled in her chest. It was hard to reconcile the doubt that colored her days with Mrs. Sullivan's unwavering belief in her. But before she could respond, a sudden loud crash drew everyone's attention. The source was a nearby booth, where a man had tipped over a stack of wooden crates, sending festival goodies sprawling everywhere. The crowd gasped collectively, and May instinctively glanced to Jasper. "Are you okay?" he asked, concern lacing his voice. "Yes," she affirmed, though unease danced in her belly. Standing amidst the crowd, their eyes wide, whispers now filled with curiosity, she suddenly saw it all differently. It wasn't just that people were watching, they were taking part in a story that was uniquely hers. Before she could fully process that thought, the frantic guest at the booth began scrambling to pick everything up. The man's embarrassment was evident. May took a deep breath and made her way toward him, her heart urging her to be the first to reach out. "Here, let me help," May said, kneeling beside him. She felt the weight of judgment dissipate as she immersed herself in a simple act of kindness. The man looked up, surprise flaring in his eyes. "Thanks, it's just one of those days." "It happens," May replied with a gentle smile, lifting a pie to place back on the table. "We all have our days." And in that moment, amidst the laughter and the chaos, she realized that everyone, herself included, was navigating life's unpredictable currents. Suddenly, the fear that had once shackled her began to feel lighter. As the crowd shifted back to festivity, May stood again, and Jasper joined her side. "That was bold of you," he chuckled lightly. "Looks like you're finding your way back." "Maybe," May admitted, glancing around the festival that suddenly felt vibrant again, "but I still have a long way to go." "Each step counts," he said softly, "and I'll be here, rooting for you." But before May could reply, a flash of movement caught her eye. Across the festival, a familiar figure loomed at the entrance, frustration evident on his face. It was her mother, searching through the crowd. May felt her heart drop. What now? Could she face her mother again, knowing everything that had changed? The question loomed as an electric current in the air, leaving her wondering what the confrontation would bring. Would she finally understand? Or would May have to fight for her truth once again? May's breath hitched as she caught sight of her mother, the woman who had always been a pillar of strength and expectation in her life. The vibrant colors of the festival seemed to dim, overshadowed by the weight of their unspoken history. What would she say? What would her mother think of the choices May had made, choices that contradicted everything their family had built? May? Jasper's voice pulled her back, his concern brightening the moment like a candle in the dark. Yeah? She responded, barely able to keep her eyes off her mother, who was now scanning the crowd with intensity. Are you sure you want to do this? Jasper's question hung in the air, and May felt it like a lead weight in her chest. We have to talk eventually, she whispered, her heart racing. Maybe now is better than later. As her mother drew near, May squared her shoulders, steadying herself. The festival's laughter and music faded into the background as she prepared for the inevitable flood of emotions. May. Her mother's voice was a mix of relief and urgency. There you are. With each step that her mother took, May could see the lines of worry etched on her face. She was a woman shaped by years of expectation, and now May was about to pull at those threads. Mom, May said, a tremor in her voice as she felt the eyes of the crowd on her again, but this time, she stood firm. Why didn't you tell me? Her mother blurted, the hurt evident in her tone. I had to hear about it from your friends. You know how I worry. May's defenses sprang up like a shield. Because every time I try to explain, it feels like I'm disappointing you. I thought maybe it would be better to figure it out on my own. The disappointment on her mother's face sliced through May like a knife. Better? May, this is your life. Don't you want to share it with me? It's not that simple. May felt the frustration bubble up. You expect me to be this perfect version of myself. But I'm scared. Scared of failing, scared of what being a mother means. This wasn't part of the plan. The words hung in the air, heavy with unresolved feelings. May glanced at Jasper, who watched with an encouraging nod, silently urging her to continue. I can't live in the shadow of your expectations anymore. I want to find my own way. Her mother's expression softened for a fleeting moment, confusion and concern battling for dominance. But I want what's best for you. This isn't how I envisioned your future. Maybe I'm not ready for the future you envisioned. May's voice trembled, but now it was different, filled with a newly found strength. Maybe I need to carve my own path. The crowd around them, once an intimidating sea of judgment, began to feel like a supportive embrace. Each face that had once seemed critical now appeared empathetic, perhaps even grateful for the confrontation unfolding before them. May, please, her mother whispered, looking more vulnerable than May had ever seen her. I just want to understand. Silence engulfed them, but in that quiet, something shifted. It was as if the crowd was holding its breath, waiting for resolution, for truths to be clawed into the open. I don't have all the answers, May said, her heart racing as she peered into her mother's eyes. But I need you to trust that I'm figuring it out. I need your support, not your judgment. Her words rang out like a trumpet in a parade, bold and undeniable. The surrounding chatter faded, and all that remained was the raw vulnerability in her mother's gaze. What if I can't see it the way you do? Her mother admitted, voice shaking. Then let us explore together, May suggested, hope flickering in her chest like a hesitant flame. I need to know you're with me, not against me. A tension hung thick in the air between them, but before her mother could respond, a loud cheer erupted from the festival. The sound jolted May back to reality, and she could feel the spectators leaning in, entranced by their exchange. Would this moment bring them closer, or would the gulf only widen? As her mother opened her mouth to speak, May felt the weight of the world on her shoulders. The outcome was still uncertain, but May was ready to take that leap of faith, to finally let her truth be heard. The air crackled with possibility, and as her mother steadied herself, May wondered, would this be the moment they both transformed? Or would old patterns remain unbroken? May felt the crowd's energy shift, the anticipation hanging thick in the air. Her heart pounded, each beat echoing her nerves. She wondered if her mother could sense the weight of their moment together, or if she was still lost in her own thoughts. May, her mother finally said, voice softer now, almost a whisper. I didn't mean to pressure you. It's just I've always wanted the best for you. It's hard to see you struggle when I know how incredible you are. In that fragile moment, May's heart softened. Her mother wasn't just a figure of expectation. She was human, frail in her own ways. "Mom, I get that," May replied, voice steadier. "But I'm not you. I have to navigate this in my own way. Can you respect that?" The festival roared around them, laughter spilling like sunlight through the trees, but for May and her mother, time felt suspended. The world felt small, the colorful banners and food stalls fading into the background, and for the first time, it was just them. "I'm just scared," her mother admitted, looking almost lost under the weight of their conversation. "Scared that I might lose you. You're my only daughter, and it hurts when I don't understand." May reached out, clasping her mother's hands. The connection sent warmth coursing through her, pulling them both back from the precipice of fear. "You won't lose me," she assured. "I'm still here. I need you to be part of my life, just like I need to carve my own path." Her mother's eyes shimmered, battling against the moisture that threatened to spill over. "I've been so wrapped up in my dreams for you that I forgot to ask what you wanted, what was in your heart." That simple admission cut through May like a breath of fresh air. It was a moment of clarity amid their tangled history. "I want to figure things out with you, but I want to start fresh. No judgment. Just support." A flicker of hope ignited in her mother's gaze, mixed with uncertainty. "Do you really believe we can?" "I do," May replied, feeling that tiny spark within her blaze a little brighter. "But it starts now." As their bond began to shift, the sound of a nearby drum circle caught their attention, pulsing with rhythm and energy. The joyful notes seeped through the air like oil on water, slowly pulling them back to the present. "Let us dance," May suggested, impulsive and brightening. "Right here, right now. If we're going to start anew, let us do it with joy." Her mother hesitated, glancing at the onlookers, but then the corners of her mouth lifted. "Okay, let us give it a shot." May pulled her mother into the crowd, their laughter mingling with the music. The rhythm of the drums quickened her spirit, and as they began to move, May felt something shift, something that had long been trapped between them. With every beat, they danced not just as mother and daughter, but as partners ready to confront the unknown. She saw surprise and delight light up her mother's face, and realized that the first steps toward healing had already begun. Just then, a loud voice broke through the joyful chorus. "May!" It was one of her friends, darting through the throngs. "You won't believe what just happened." Curiosity sparked like a fire, and May swayed her way over to her friend, her pulse racing. She had just taken a monumental step in her relationship with her mother, and now it felt like the universe was unfolding unexpected chapters before her. What could be coming next? As her friend rushed to share exciting news, May looked back at her mother, who was still dancing with tentative joy, slowly inching toward more understanding. How would they navigate this newfound openness together? But before she could dive in, a feeling of unease fluttered in her stomach. Would this newfound growth stand under the tests of reality? This was just the beginning, and May had no idea what paths lay ahead, waiting to twist and turn their lives once again. May's friend's energetic presence pulled her from her thoughts, reminding her of the vibrant world surrounding them. "You're not going to believe this." Her friend's eyes sparkled with excitement, drawing May closer, even as the drumbeats pulsed on, urging her feet to move. "What happened?" May asked, trying to match her friend's enthusiasm while her heart raced. "They're holding a contest right now. Best Family Dance Duo. We should totally enter." The idea hit May like a jolt of electricity. A dance contest? Like right now? Yeah. It's all about celebrating family and togetherness. Come on. This could be our moment. Her friend's voice was an infectious mix of urgency and excitement. Just as May opened her mouth to respond, she met her mother's gaze. Her mom stood a few feet away, still caught in the rhythm, but now glancing back and forth between May's friend and herself. There was uncertainty written on her face, but also the faintest flicker of interest. Could they really dive into something as bold as this? "Mom!" May called out, her excitement bubbling up. "What do you think?" For a split second, May felt her mother hesitate, lost in thought. The crowd continued to swirl around them, laughter mingling with the heartbeat of the drums. Men and women swayed with carefree abandonment, their joy infectious. Finally, her mother took a step forward. "I don't know how well I can dance," she said, her voice wavering with a mix of vulnerability and determination. "Who cares?" May replied, energy flowing through her. "We're just having fun. This is our chance to really connect and let go." Her mom chuckled softly, the tension easing ever so slightly. "All right, let us do it." There was still that hint of hesitation in her eyes, but within them flickered the same light May had seen dance across her face earlier. As they joined the line of families gathering for the contest, May felt a new, tangible connection forming. They stood side by side, her mother's hand encircling May's. Instinctively, May squeezed it tight, shooting her mom a reassuring smile. This was a leap into the unknown, but they had already started climbing that mountain, the announcer's voice echoed over the thrumming music. "Welcome to the family dance-off. Each group will have 30 seconds to showcase their best moves. Let us get ready to celebrate together." The first family stepped up, the crowd cheering them on. May glanced at her mother, who was slowly loosening up, foot tapping to the rhythm. The music surged, beckoning them to join in the moment. "Just follow my lead," May said, her heart racing with adrenaline. As the previous family finished, May and her mom stepped forward, joined now by her friend. The crowd roared with anticipation, and May could barely contain her laughter. They found their places, bodies swaying, hearts drumming in unison. Then the music dropped, a dynamic beat filling the air. May led the way, laughter spilling forth as they jumped into a mix of silly moves and joyful expressions. The magic of the moment enveloped them, stitches of laughter stitching the frayed edges of their relationship tighter than ever. For those precious 30 seconds, there were no expectations, no fears. It was just fun. The crowd's voices combined with drums, creating a symphony of warmth and delight. When the final note hit, they froze together in exaggerated poses, laughter cascading from them. The crowd went wild, cheers ringing like echoes of their new beginning. In that heartbeat, they had something new, a shared experience, a memory etched in joy.as they exited the dance floor, breathless and grinning. May caught her mother's eye. It was like seeing her mom for the first time, truly seeing her. There was recognition, happiness, and a hint of pride. Yet beneath the surface, May felt that unease whispering. Their connection had strengthened, but challenges still awaited. How would they navigate the conversations and decisions that lay ahead? Just as she turned to ask her mom how she felt, a familiar face pushed through the crowd. May's estranged father. His eyes locked onto hers. And in that moment, everything shifted again. May's heart dropped, confusion threading through her thoughts. There he stood, her father, after all these years, but he looked different, older, maybe a little more haggard than she remembered. It was surreal, like spotting a character from a forgotten story surfacing in real life. "May," he said, his voice a mixture of disbelief and longing. She felt the crowd buzzing around them, the celebration fading into the background as she stood rooted in place. Her heart pounded loud enough to drown out the rhythm of the drums, each beat serving as a frantic reminder of the weight of this moment. "Why are you here?" May's voice was barely above a whisper, tinged with a hurt she had long buried. She didn't intend to be rude, but the words slipped out, pressed against her throat like a stone. I came to see you." He fidgeted, the nervousness of an unfamiliar situation radiating off him. "I've missed you. All of you." May's eyes darted to her mother, searching for reassurance, but her mom stood frozen, a mixture of hope and apprehension written on her face. It was as if they were both standing on an edge, teetering between past pain and a potential new chapter. "Missed me?" May scoffed, her voice growing unsteady. "You left us. You chose to walk away." Her father's expression fell, a shadow passing over his features. "I know. I'm sorry, May. I made mistakes. I wanted to try to fix things. I thought what?" May interrupted, feeling the rush of emotions swell in her chest. "That you could just show up and everything would be fine? Like it didn't matter that we spent years feeling abandoned? The crowd's energy around them shifted. Whispers and curious glances moved through the families still celebrating the contest. May felt a dozen pairs of eyes on them, but the noise dulled in her ears. This was bigger, scarier than the bright lights and drum beats. Her father stepped forward, desperation mirroring May's own turmoil. I didn't realize how much I lost until it was too late. I thought I was doing what was right for everyone. He took a deep breath, his voice cracking. I want to make things right. I really want to be part of your life again. May shook her head sharply, feeling the heat of unshed tears but refusing to let them fall. She was overwhelmed, confusion mixing with anger and resentment. Could she allow herself to dream of a relationship that could never be the same? May, please, her dad pleaded, desperation in his eyes. I know I don't deserve your forgiveness, but can we at least talk? Can we try? Before May could respond, her mother stepped closer, her voice steadier than before. May, maybe we should hear him out. Just this once. May met her mother's gaze, searching for some sign of direction. This moment threatened to unravel what they had just built on the dance floor, and yet, it could also lead to something profound. With her heart racing, May stepped back, giving herself space to breathe. Was she ready to open this door? Or would it lead to more pain? As she searched for words, the crowd around them began to fade again, the laughter and music lost against the possible confrontation ahead. What if May paused, uncertainty settling in her chest? What if this is just another mistake? Before her father could answer, the music surged back to life, louder than before, encircling them in an overwhelming wave of sound. May realized this was far from over. Their moment on the dance floor was just a fleeting glimpse of connection, and her heart burned with the question, were they ready to navigate the complexity of family, or was this the beginning of a whole new set of challenges? As they stood there, caught in the tide of emotions and drumming beats, May couldn't shake the feeling that their lives were about to change drastically. What would this moment mean for all three of them? She wrestled with the thought, needing to know what came next. May's mind spun as the music swelled around her, drowning out the voices that could cut through the fog of her emotions. Her father's presence felt electric, but the proximity ignited memories she had hoped were long buried. The ache of abandonment settled back into her chest like an unwelcome guest. Just this once, her mother had said. But how could she trust something so nebulous? Just this once had often been a trap in her life. She glanced at her mom, who looked both hopeful and terrified, and May's heart twisted. Was it fair to put this burden on them? You have to understand, May said finally, her voice steadying as she tried to make sense of the chaos. This isn't just about you or me. It's about the past. Do you even know what you left behind? I do, he replied, his voice shaking with sincerity. I've carried that weight. I made mistakes I can't take back, but I want to try now. I can't change what happened, but I can at least be here for you both. You leaving hurt us. May's voice trembled, and even she could hear the raw honesty in her words. Mom put on a brave face, but... Her mother's hand brushed against May's arm. I was always afraid, May. Afraid of what would happen if he came back, afraid of how you two would feel about each other. The way her mother said you two echoed in May's heart like a distant drumbeat. The bond between mother and daughter, so tightly wound for so long, was now stretched toward a man who had once shattered their lives. The crowd cheered as a winner of a dance competition was announced, but here, within their little bubble, nothing felt celebratory. People swayed and laughed, while their conversation was a haunting dance of uncertainty. Would they spiral back into old pain or forge something new? Maybe we all just need to talk, May said, her heart beat loud in her ears. But I can't pretend everything is okay. It's been over a decade since you left. You think I can just welcome you back with open arms? It doesn't work like that. I don't expect you to forget, he said, his voice softening. I just want a chance. Before he could finish, a burst of laughter erupted from the crowd, pulling May's gaze toward it. She saw a group of kids playing with ribbons, their joy so pure and untainted. They reminded her of her childhood before everything went wrong. The image ignited a longing within her, a flicker of hope wrestled to life. Could she dare to allow some light back into her life? Closing her eyes for just a moment, May breathed in the air thick with summer rain smells and sweat mixed with excitement from the celebration. She imagined taking the first step toward healing, imagining conversations that could mend broken bridges, but felt an icy fear creeping back in. What if this new journey only led to more heartbreak? As the drumming continued, May opened her eyes, her resolve hardening. "Let us talk," she said finally, surprising even herself. "But if we do, we need to be honest about everything, the good, the bad, and especially the ugly." Her father nodded slowly, gratitude and trepidation mingling in his gaze. "I can do that. I owe you the truth." With those words hanging in the air, May turned to her mother, who nodded, tears glimmering in her eyes. "You don't have to do this alone," her mom said softly, her voice barely discernible above the music. As the drumbeats pulsed, May felt an unexpected flicker of warmth ignite within her. Maybe, just maybe, this could open a door to a new beginning rather than once more standing on the edge of pain. She glanced back at her father, preparing for the hardest conversation of her life, but as they began to step into the uncertain territory of their shared past, the crowd erupted into another cheer, their laughter blending with the rhythm of May's heartbeat. Perhaps this unexpected journey could lead them to something neither of them anticipated. Could they learn to forgive and even love again? Just as those thoughts settled in the recesses of her mind, a familiar, devastating voice echoed across the venue, a reminder that not all shadows were dancing away. "Look who decided to come for a reunion." May froze, the past whispering chaos into the fragile peace she was trying to build. Who else was back to stir the storm? The voice sent a chill down May's spine, and she hesitated, every muscle in her body going rigid. She turned slowly, almost dreading what she might see. There, at the edge of the crowd, stood Eleanor, the one person May had never expected to encounter again so soon. Eleanor wore a smirk that could slice through steel. She had always walked into a room like she owned it, and now, with that same arrogance, she stood before them, as if the string of broken relationships didn't weigh heavy behind her. "Nice to see you again, May," she called, her tone dripping with false sweetness. "How's the family drama? Still loving that daddy issues theme?" May felt her heart race. "What do you want, Eleanor?" She managed to reply, her voice barely loud enough to carry over the sound of the music. Eleanor stepped closer, her expression shifting to something more sincere, almost too sincere. "Just checking in. I didn't hear about your little reunion until I saw your dad. I guess in small towns, news travels faster than you expect. Is this really the time?" May snapped, feeling her cheeks flush. She glanced at her father, who looked equally shocked and uncertain. "Of course. Family reunions are so much fun," Eleanor quipped, rolling her eyes. "But it's always nice to see some familiar faces, isn't it? Like the ones you try so hard to forget." May's heart wrenched. "This isn't about you." "Maybe not," Eleanor retorted, her smile tightening. "But I've an offer you won't want to miss. Let us spice things up. After all, a little chaos can be therapeutic." Eleanor's words hung in the air like a dark cloud. What chaos could she bring that wasn't already filling the space around them? May glanced again at her father, who shifted uncomfortably, caught in the crossfire of an old family feud. May felt trapped, her fragile hopes for healing crumbling as uncertainty wrapped its icy fingers around her heart. Eleanor's gaze flitted between May and her father, a hint of something almost predatory in her eyes. "I do wonder what you two will dig up in your little heart-to-heart. Old wounds? New lies? Enough!" May shouted, her voice igniting with anger fueled by hurt feelings. The laughter and dancing around them momentarily hushed, the crowd sensing the shift in the atmosphere. "Look, Eleanor," May said, "if you think you can come in here and stir things up just because you want attention? Is that what you think this is about?" Eleanor interrupted, her voice sharp. "When you spend years watching someone else take your place, it's a lot more than just attention. It's about reclaiming what's been stolen." May's breath caught in her throat. The words cut deeper than she anticipated. Eleanor had always been the queen bee, and now here she was, clawing back into the scene of old wounds, stirring a cauldron of memories May thought she had tucked away neatly. The surrounding crowd shifted in the periphery, their curiosity piqued, whispers circulating like wind through leaves. May knew they were taking note of this unexpected drama, her insecurities laid bare under the harsh fluorescent lights of vulnerability. "Why don't you just leave?" May whispered, her voice thick with emotion. "And miss out on the fun?" "Never." Eleanor laughed, the sound slicing through the tension like a knife. "Besides, I think we're just getting started." As Eleanor stepped back, scanning the crowd like a hunter eyeing her prey, May felt the ground beneath her shift. This wasn't just about her past anymore, it was an eruption of buried secrets and promises broken, all thrust into the glaring spotlight that in the midst of her storm. May turned to her father, searching for the steady anchor she craved. Could he help her navigate this chaos? Would they face this together, or was it time for her to stand alone? Just then, May's heart sank as she felt the weight of expectation settle heavily around her. The music surged back to life with a fervor, and around them, the celebration regained its energy, but May stood tethered in a flashpoint moment, bracing for the consequences of what lay ahead. How do you stand strong when the past begins to unearth itself right in front of you? May opened her mouth to speak, but the words wouldn't come. Instead, she felt the heat of Eleanor's gaze as a new silence enveloped them, heavy with unsaid revelations. "May," her father whispered, "we need to address all of this now." With those words resonating in the air, May's heart strummed a painful note of uncertainty. Could she truly confront the ghosts of yesterday and emerge standing tall, or was she once again teetering on the edge of despair? In that moment, with Eleanor's insatiable hunger for chaos looming large, May's decision loomed closer than ever. Would this confrontation crack the surface of her carefully placed fortress, or would she find a way to fortify it against the tide of pain threatening to sweep her away? The music pulsed around them, a heart-thumping rhythm that felt like a distant echo compared to the storm brewing in May's mind. She looked into her father's eyes, searching for a glimmer of reassurance, but saw only confusion and fear mirrored back at her. Everyone around them resumed their laughter and celebration, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing just off the dance floor. May, her father urged again, his voice rising slightly above the floor's euphoric noise. "Can you just give me a minute?" May pleaded, her chest tightening. This is all way too much. She felt Eleanor's presence like an oppressive weight, lurking just out of reach but still insistent, demanding to be acknowledged. "Oh, come on, May." Eleanor's voice cut through the haze, laced with mockery. "You think running away from this will solve anything? You have so many questions, don't you? Isn't it time you face the truth?" "What truth?" May snapped back, fighting against the tide of frustration welling inside her. "What do you know about my truth? You've always made it about you." The slight hush that had fallen over the crowd returned, and more heads turned to them, drawn into the magnetic pull of confrontation. Eleanor took a step closer, her smirk having morphed into something menacing. "I know more than you think. Maybe it's time the world knew what really happened back then. Or are you still scared of the shadows?" May felt her heart thumping louder now, threatening to spill everything out onto the dance floor. Memories crashed over her like waves, revealing buried secrets she had spent years trying to forget. The anger inside her flared anew, but it was mixed with something else, a sliver of fear, creeping like a vine around her determination. "Stop it, Eleanor," May said, her voice lower now, strained. "You're not going to manipulate this situation to draw attention back to yourself." "Manipulation? This is just a reminder that you're as flawed as the rest of us," Eleanor tossed back, her tone suddenly icy. "It's not about attention, it's about power. And you've let it slip through your fingers." With a swift glance, May assessed the crowd. Friends, family, judgmental glances, they all watched with bated breath, ready to witness chaos unfold. Would she allow herself to be dragged into Eleanor's game? "In case you haven't noticed, May," Eleanor pressed on, leaning closer, "people love drama. It gives them something to talk about." May felt the panic rising each beat of her heart, a reminder of the walls she had built to protect herself. Then she turned back to her father, desperation setting in. His face softened, and in that moment, she realized she needed his stability. "Dad, listen to me," he said, his voice steady and low, surprisingly calm amid the chaos. "You don't have to do this alone. We can talk. We can figure this out together." Something shifted in May's chest, some part of her awakening, emboldened by her father's support. She squared her shoulders slowly, making up her mind. "Eleanor, you want the truth?" "Fine," May said, surprising even herself with the weight of conviction infusing her words. "Let us get it all out then. But know this, I refuse to be a pawn in your game." The energy around them crackled as someone whispered near the back, eyes wide with shock. Others leaned in closer, as if bracing themselves for the storm that was about to break. Eleanor's face fell, her expression flickering for a moment before she masked it with her trademark confidence. "Oh, we're just getting started, May. You know I'll always be around to remind you of where you truly come from." With a newfound fire igniting her spirit, May turned back to her father. "Together?" Her father nodded, pride shining in his eyes. "Always." As she stood there, facing Eleanor, May felt as if the ground beneath her was shifting yet again. This was just the beginning of something unforgiving. What else was Eleanor holding on to, and would May be able to confront it all before the truth consumed her? The air crackled with tension, and May couldn't shake the feeling that their explosive reunion was only the prelude to something far more tumultuous looming just around the corner. What buried secrets would May unearth next, and could she truly stand strong amidst the chaos, or would Eleanor's insatiable hunger unleash untold revelations that could unravel her entire world? May stood rooted to the spot, the vibrant atmosphere of the festival fading into a muffled hum around her. Eleanor's taunts echoed like harsh thunder, reverberating through the ache of her heart. All eyes were on them, but beneath the weight of so many gazes, May found a flicker of clarity, a resilience rising like the sun breaking through the clouds. "You think you can come here and manipulate me?" May spat, her voice gaining strength. "You don't control my story anymore. You don't define who I am." Eleanor blinked, momentarily taken aback by the intensity burning in May's eyes. "You talk a big game, but we both know you're afraid of the truth." "Maybe I am," May continued, the courage flooding through her like waves crashing against a rocky shore. "But I won't back down. We've all made mistakes, and I'm not going to throw stones at your glass house when mine is still so fragile." The crowd seemed to lean in closer, holding its breath. May felt the tension shift as murmurs stirred amongst the onlookers. She glanced at her father, and for the first time, he seemed to be fully present, pride swelling in his chest. "You're stronger than you realize," he whispered, and those simple words ignited a blaze within her. This was her moment, the turning point she had been yearning for amidst the storms of uncertainty. "Eleanor, if you want to play games, you can do it without me." May's voice rang clear, cutting through the white space like a declaration of independence. "I refuse to live under the shadow of your chaos. I'm reclaiming my narrative." Eleanor folded her arms, stepping back though May could see the simmering frustration behind her composed facade. "We'll see how long that lasts." "Yeah, you will," May retorted, turning her back on the storm behind her, ready to step into the sunlight ahead, with renewed purpose. May faced the spectators, a smile breaking on her face as she caught Jasper's supportive gaze in the crowd. He grinned back, his presence grounding her, anchoring her amidst the swirling emotions. "Mom," she called, beckoning her mother closer. The magnetic pull of their earlier connection shimmered in the air. "I want us to truly start fresh, without ghosts from the past hanging over our heads." Her mom took a shaky breath, stepping forward with her eyes shimmering with tears and hope. "I want that, too, May. I'm ready to support you, even if it's in a way I never expected." A wave of warmth coursed through May, binding them together against the pressures that had once driven them apart. "Thank you," she whispered, a promise igniting between them, a promise of understanding and unconditional love. Then, May turned back to her father, who stood waiting, vulnerability bared before her. "Can we really forge a new path? One where we all grow and heal, together?" He nodded, tears in his eyes. "I've never stopped hoping for that. My absence doesn't change how much I care about you both." The crowd erupted into applause, relief washing over May as she let the moment soak in. This dance of confrontation turned epiphany had ignited new connections. She stood tall, shoulders back, brimming with a heart full of fierce love. The union of past hurts and future dreams morphed gracefully before her, like spring flowers blooming after a long winter. Then, the sweetest sound broke through the rhythmic thumping of drums returned, coaxing everyone back to joy. Without thinking, May reached for her mother's hand, squeezing it tightly. "Let us dance." Her mother chuckled, vibrant, as they stepped forward into the thrumming rhythm together, side by side. The music poured over them like honey, sweet and warm, a reminder of the magic in family bonds that bend but don't break, and just as they began to sway to the beat, May felt Jasper slip in beside them. "Count me in," he exclaimed, spinning them both. Laughter erupted as their little trio twirled beneath the blue skies, the colorful festival surrounding them fully embracing the warmth of newfound beginnings. With each move, May felt lighter, shedding the weight of years spent harboring anger and hurt. Instead, joy cascaded around them, capturing everything she had hoped for. "Thank you," May whispered to both of them as they danced, heart open wide. The music swelled, laughter echoed. Even Eleanor stood off to the side, her face twisting between envy and intrigue, the storm dissipating as May danced freely. The dynamic had shifted, and now, like a phoenix, they were rising from the ashes of their past. In that moment, May knew, their story was not defined by failures or separations, but by the beautiful chaos of human connections. It was the promise of growth, understanding, and the gift of togetherness wrapped in love that would shape their future. As they spun and laughed, hope glimmered brighter than ever, a beacon guiding May toward a life filled with purpose and fulfillment, as colorful and vibrant as the festival that surrounded her. This was liberation, and as May continued to dance intertwined with her mother and Jasper, she thought of all those watching, feeling gratitude swell in her heart. She hoped they, too, would find the courage to embrace their own journeys. Now it was time to share that truth. And as the last note echoed through the festival, May took a deep breath, ready for whatever came next. If this story touched you, don't wait, subscribe immediately to the channel to not miss the next exclusive stories. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these amazing tales alive. Comment your reactions and feelings about the ending. Your voice matters. And share instantly this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this breathtaking transformation. This is the moment to show your support. You need to subscribe now. Don't wait not even one more second to share this incredible journey.